So basically the factors affecting Indian climate or the factors affecting the climate of any place is the same thing only. India's climate is controlled by a number of the factors which can be broadly divided into two groups. The one we can say it is related to the location and relief, and another one we can say it is related to the air pressure and the wind. Now this factors affecting Indian climate or the climatic controls all are same thing only. Now the factors that is affected with the relief feature of India, that is the latitude, altitude, relief, distance from the sea, Himalayan mountain, as well as the distribution of the land and water. Now what is this latitude? We all know that latitudes are some horizontal line that pass over the surface of the earth only. These all are the imaginary lines also. Now if you will see the latitudes, these all are the latitudes of the world. You all know this is the equator, Tropic of Cancer, Arctic Circle, and this is the North Pole. Even in that way also equator, Antarctic, Tropic of Capricorn, Antarctic Circle, and the South Pole. Now this all latitude is having a great effect on the climate of our country. Basically, if you will see the India's location in the world, you will see that Tropic of Cancer passes through the central part of our country in east-west direction. This Tropic of Cancer divides India into two parts. The northern part of the India lies under the subtropical or the temperate zone, and the southern part of the India comes under tropical climatic zone. So in this way we can say that the presence of the because of the presence of the Tropic of Cancer, half part of the India comes under the subtropical climate and down part of the India comes under the tropical climate. Now not only because of the Tropic of Cancer only, you will see always the equatorial region getting the high amount of the sun rays. But whenever you are going towards the pole, towards the north or towards the south, you will see that the sun rays are slanting. So in this way also we can say that the tropical zone that is near to the equator, that's why it experiences almost high temperature throughout the year with small daily and annual range, like the variation is there. Area north of the Tropic of Cancer, the north of the Tropic of Cancer, that means this area, it experiences extreme type of the climate with high daily and annual range of the temperature. So we can say that in this way the latitude affect the temperature of any area. Now the second one is altitude. Now what is this altitude? The simple meaning of the altitude is height of a place. Now height of a place is another effective factor on climate. Generally in the previous chapters we have read about the normal lapse rate. Remember about normal lapse rate, what we have read over there? When we are going to the higher altitude, the temperature decreases with altitude only. The temperature decreases from low to high altitude. So the same thing is applicable for climate also. Now in case of the altitude, we can see the temperature decreases with the height of the place. And we know that in the upper altitude, the air is thin. That's why the temperature is less also. And the places of the mountains are cooler than the places of the plains. Suppose example, here you can see the example is given of Agra and Darjeeling in the same month, like this month only, in the month of January. The temperature of Agra is now 16 degree and the temperature of the Darjeeling is 4 degree. If you will see the altitude of Darjeeling is far greater than the altitude of the Agra. So we can say that normally when we are going towards the higher altitude, the temperature decreases with the height only, and in this way altitude affects the climate of India. Now the third point that we are having, that is the presence of the Himalayas in India. The presence of the Himalayan mountain. Himalayan mountain is actually act as a climatic barrier. The lofty Himalayas are present in the north and northeastern part of our country. Now it is actually puts a great effect in the climate of India. Now this particular work as a shield, and it's protect us from the wind, that is from the cold wind that is coming from the areas towards the north, that is coming from the subcontinent of the northern area. From this area, basically the Siberian winds are coming towards the India, and these winds are the cold wind. So this Mount Everest is act as a barrier, and it stops this cold wind of the Siberia. Even in case of the Himalaya, another thing is there. You all know about the monsoons. We are having the southwest monsoon, southeast monsoon. This monsoon winds are enters into India, and after that it actually the Himalayan mountain trap this monsoon wind, and because of that the rainfall occur. If there is no Himalayas, then it will be like that, there will be less amount of the rainfall in India, because whatever winds enter from here as a southwest or the southeast monsoon, so this winds actually the barrier is there, that is the Himalaya, and because of that the rainfall occur. So we can say that Himalayas also trap the monsoon winds and forcing them to shed their moisture within the subcontinent only. So this is the importance of Himalayas in Indian climate. Now the third importance is there, or the third factor is there, that is the distance from the sea. Generally, we know always the coastal areas having moderate kind of the climatic condition. Coastal area doesn't have very high temperature or very low temperature. Always it is having the moderate kind of the climatic condition. We know that we are from the three sides of India, it's covered with the ocean only. It is having a one side, downside it is Indian Ocean over here, Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea in this side. So if we will compare the ocean areas like this states which are located nearby the ocean like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and all, and if you will compare the inland areas, that means the areas which is there far from the ocean, you will always get to see that the areas which are the far from the ocean, they are having extreme type of the climates. Either they are having high temperature or they are having the low temperature. But the places like Mumbai area, Chennai, or you can go for the any islands also, they are nearby to the oceans. So those areas are having moderate climatic condition. So that's why we can say that according to the distance from the sea also, the temperature of different places varies. So it is another effective factor. Now the next factor that we are having, that is the relief factor. Relief means the landform, or we can say the physiography. Now relief factor is also affect the temperature of a place, pressure of a place, direction of the wind speed, as well as the amount of the distribution of the rainfall. For example, if I will show you, this is the Western Ghat, we all know. This side of the Western Ghat is known as windward side, and this side of the Western Ghat, it's called the leeward side. Suppose the wind is coming from this side. So when the wind it stops in this part of the Western Ghat, high amount of the rainfall occur in this side only. Like in the previous chapters we read about the orographic rainfall. But when that wind cross this Western Ghat and come to this side of the eastern side of the Western Ghat, this particular area doesn't receive rainfall, or they receives very low rainfall. So windward side of the mountain getting high amount of the rainfall, and the leeward side of the mountain doesn't get that much amount of the rainfall. So in this way we can say that according to the relief feature also, this temperature, this pressure, amount of the rainfall, all differences occur. Now the next and the last point that we are having, that is the distribution of the land and the water. What does it mean? Distribution of the land and water. Distribution of the land and water means, you can see that in case of India only, the India is actually the totally covered by, as I said, Indian Ocean, Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. As compared to the landmass, the water heats up or cools down slowly. The landmass absorbs the heat at very faster rate, but the water body heats up or cools down very much slowly. So this differential heating and cooling of the land and the sea creates the difference in the air pressure. Suppose example, in this time only, in the winter, our landmass, Indian landmass having less temperature, but presently oceans are warmer than the land. Now what happened? Now if the lands are having the less temperature, so we are having high pressure on the land and we are having low pressure on the sea. So the wind will move from the land to the sea. But in the summer time, you will see the opposite scenario. The lands having more temperature, so the low pressure is there on the land, and the sea is having the high temperature, so low pressure is there in the sea. So in the summers, the winds comes from the sea to the land. So that's why we can see that the distribution of the land and the ocean, it creates the differential of the heating and the cooling. And because of that, the different air pressure zones occur in different regions. And because of this difference of the air pressure, the wind movement occur. And due to that, our temperature, rainfall, all can be affected. So these all are the factors that is related with the location or the relief. Now the next factors that we are having, it comes under the topic of the air pressure and the wind. Now different places are having different climatic condition in India. Behind this, the air pressure and wind is also an important factor. The distribution of the air pressure and wind on the surface of the earth is one of the important factors. As you all already know, this is the equator. And equator is a low pressure zone. This is the subtropical high pressure area. This is the subtropical low pressure area. This area is the subtropical low pressure area. This is a subtropical, again, low pressure area. And this is a polar high pressure area. This is a polar high pressure area. Now, due to the presence of the low pressure, high pressure, low pressure, the wind direction occurs. Basically, the winds are moving from the high pressure to the low pressure area. That's why the winds are coming from this tropical high pressure region towards the intertropical convergence zone. So this is a condition of the surface wind. Because of that, the climate of India can be affected. Now the next one that we are having, that is the upper air circulation caused by the factors controlling the global weather and the inflow of the different air masses like the jet stream and western cyclonic disturbance. That's another factor. Now what is this western cyclonic disturbance? Western cyclonic disturbance is a phenomena. It is a disturbance that occur in the winter months in the northwestern part of our country. Like this is the India in the world, and in this part of the country, this western cyclonic disturbance occur. And this disturbance starts from the Mediterranean region. From the Mediterranean region towards the India, in the winter months, the cyclones comes, and that affect the region of the north and northwestern country. So it affects the climate of India. Jet stream also affect the climate of India. Jet streams, we all know, it is a upper air circulation. Jet stream is a narrow belt of the high altitude winds. Now jet stream moves from India in different times, in the summer as well as the winter. So due to the change of the jet stream, our climatic condition also change. El Nino also affect Indian climate. We know El Nino, it's a Spanish word. The meaning of the word is a baby Christ or the baby boy, and it's occur in the Peru coast during the month of the December only. And because of this El Nino only, in that particular year, India gets less monsoon, or there is a delay in the monsoon in India. Even in sometimes drought occur in the El Nino years. We already read about the El Nino in previous classes, so we will not discuss today the El Nino in details over here. But this El Nino also affects Indian climate, and because of that, there is a delay in the monsoon, or the less amount of the rainfall occur in India. Southern oscillation, the same thing. The pressure changes occur in the Indian Ocean as well as in the Pacific Ocean, and that's why also the climatic condition of India changes. So these all are the factors that affect the climate of India. Okay.